On this edition of Southern Newsweek, this term's Dunedin City Council is sworn in as new councillors are welcomed into the fold. The Christchurch City Council has a similar change in guard, with Leanne Dalzell no longer mayor. And in the Deep South, Invercargill's Nobby Clark was officially appointed the city's new mayor. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. Dunedin's new mayor and councillors have officially been sworn in at the first City Council meeting of the new term. A crowd of family and supporters gathered in the Dunedin Centre's Fullwood Room for an occasion marked with laughter, remembrance and ideas for the future.
A handshake and applause as Dunedin's new mayor Jules Raddick was formally welcomed into the role by City Council CEO. Raddick earlier received the mayoral gown and chain in the Dunedin Centre Fullwood Room packed full of people, taking over the reins from former Mayor Aaron Hawkins. He wasn't at the inaugural meeting to make a farewell speech, but councillors were ready to pay their respects.
I am proud to have been your deputy, your colleague, to have served with you in the extraordinary times we did, and to have achieved what we did for our wonderful city under your leadership.
Councillor Marie Lafiso choosing to acknowledge her Green Party colleague Hawkins with a song. While Councillor Steve Walker reflected on the abuse the previous mayor had received during their campaign.
And you might not agree with that politics, but I don't think we need to be abused. So Jules, my hope is that you are not a recipient of some of the things the previous mayor had to go through. Thank you.
Alongside the new mayor, 5 new councillors were sworn in for the coming term. Cherry Lucas, Kevin Gilbert, Brent Wetherall, Mandy Mahan-Bullock and the returning Bill Acklin. And for previous councillor Sophie Barker, it was her turn to formally accept the role of deputy mayor. Mayor Raddick gave outgoing unsuccessful councillor Rachel Elder a send-off for her efforts in serving the city.
So thank you, Rachel, for all you have done, and to repeat, we will miss you.
The new members united as one council today and now ready to debate the issues when they come together at their first official meeting next week. In Dunedin, the South today.
The Gore Country Music Club celebrated its 50th anniversary with a gala concert last weekend. A few friends sharing a sing-along started the club in 1972, which their new patron says put Gore on the map.
Not your usual barn dance in Gore this weekend. Bluegrass festival favourites the Hillbilly Goats crossing the Tasman to celebrate the Gore Country Music Club's golden anniversary. The club was formed by 5 Southland country and western fans at a local cake shop in 1972 and has grown to almost 300 members thanks in part to the popular Golden Guitar Awards. Current club president Julie Mitchell says the anniversary is a huge milestone for the club.
Absolute pleasure to be celebrating 50 years of country music here in Gore since 1972.
Outgoing Gore Mayor and new club patron Tracy Hicks says the group has helped the region shine.
Right across the nation and indeed right across the world has put Gore and Eastern Southland on the map.
86-year-old lifetime member and renowned yodeler Max McCauley says the club's main role is to foster new talent.
Lots of young people, bringing them through, and they're the future and we've got to take care of them, and that's what's happening, and I'm pleased to see that.
Alongside high-profile events like the Gold Guitars, the club also organises free concerts for rest homes around the region. In Gore, the South today.
Christchurch has a new mayor, along with 6 new councillors and a new attitude. Listening to the city's residents is high on this council's agenda and will be a focus for those new in the job.
A new era for Christchurch City Council.
I, Philip Simon Major, declare that I will faithfully and...
The city's newly elected mayor, Phil Major, the first to be sworn in at a meeting this week, alongside Christchurch City councillors. He replaces Leanne Dalzell, who retired after 3 terms.
Were imposed on me as mayor of Christchurch.
Council Chief Executive Dawn Baxendale decked out the new mayor, setting him up for the tasks ahead.
The government have come along and
I feel, dropped an Auckland and a Wellington problem on us with 3 stories high, 3 buildings on three buildings 3 stories high on one section, which we all listened to 17 residents groups, and they were totally against it, and so we said we're not going to put it out.
The need for council to listen to community voices was echoed by the 6 new councillors, who see it as a major priority for the incoming council.
There are a lot of disenfranchised and disengaged residents in the city, which all need to be heard, and the issue is actually about how we do it.
I understand that we've got some very complex issues ahead of us. We've got some really big challenges and we've got some difficult conversations together. But I am hopeful that we will find a way to work together, and I have trust and confidence in my fellow councillors.
As the ladies here at council have quite rightly said, we haven't had a mayoress for 9 years, so they're looking forward to having Gotcha.
Mayor Major is prepared for a steep learning curve in the new job, but is pleased he has at least one more personal assistant. One of the mayor's ongoing tasks, in his own words, is to keep these guys all pulling the rope in the same direction, something he admits won't be easy but is attainable. In Christchurch, the South Today.
New Zealand's annual inflation rate is at 2.7%, with fuel and food costs soaring upwards. The increase is forcing many Kiwis to seek help to try and release the financial pressure.
A man on a mission. Christchurch food banks say demand for their services has rapidly increased as the country's cost of living has gone up, with demand for food increasing by more than 30%.
And we are currently, over last year's, for the same period, for the first 9 months of the year, we're seeing a 30.2% increase in demand from last year to this year.
At the current rate of increased need, all of the items in this walk-in pantry will be given out and replaced over the next day and a half. People are looking toward community organisations to lend a helping hand, with one business trying to keep people's cupboards stocked. This Linwood discount supermarket opened 7 months ago. Its owner, Sean Thomas, says he's already noticed it's becoming harder for customers.
People are sort of mentioning when we see them that times are hard. They're looking for better options. So we're really understanding that sort of climate at the moment. It is really difficult out there.
Bargain Me sources items from distributors across the country, which are close to their best before date, before selling them at discounted rates. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Nobby Clark was officially sworn in as the Mayor of Invercargill last week at a special ceremony at the Civic Theatre. Clark was joined on stage by the new council, and he's promising not to hold back when it comes to his distinctive style of leadership.
New Invercargill Mayor Nobby Clark swearing the oath of office in front of an audience of family and friends. Last night's special event at the Civic Theatre giving the new council a chance to celebrate before the hard work begins. The new mayor says he's already been putting in the hard yards, negotiating responsibilities with his new team.
Long days, 11, 12-hour days, but I've had to interview all the councillors to make sure they're on board and what sort of roles they want to have. Been a bit of a juggling act.
In his inaugural speech, Mayor Clark says he's really happy with the group of representatives, but he also warns the incoming council that there's bound to be conflict. In fact, he says it's written in the stars.
A Virgo is a person that wants everything done yesterday, very intolerant. I don't drag my feet.
The new council will hold its inaugural meeting on November 1st. Clark keen to get cracking on long-standing issues, including efforts to improve the inner city. In Invercargill, the South Today.
The Otago Regional Council voted in a new chairperson this week for its upcoming term after previous chair Andrew Noon decided not to run again. Gretchen Robertson brings 15 years of council experience to her new role and is already signalling a change in approach.
Newly appointed Otago Regional Council chairperson Gretchen Robertson inviting councillors to clear the air and clear their heads in preparation for a busy 3 years of reforms. Previous chairman Andrew Noon chose not to stand for the position again after what he described as a difficult last term. Robertson's not new to the table. She's been a regional councillor for 15 years and says she's comfortable with the transition to leadership.
it's humbling, and that's democracy, and it was a fair contest today as well, and I'm really keen for that, just to run a really fair process.
The next 3 years will see a focus on new regional plans covering land, water, air and coast. And Robertson says she'll be relying on every member of the council to contribute.
I think that there will be some changes. I think we're going to really work on our team. We're going to invest in ensuring that every member of this team is utilised.
Robertson will be assisted in the leadership duties by newcomer Lloyd McCall, who'll serve as Deputy Mayor, beating Councillor Kevin Malcolm to the position in a close vote. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on this edition of Southern Newsweek, construction is finally underway for an Invercargill dementia care facility, and a Dunedin Arts Festival performance looks at turning musical brainwaves into a painting. Tēnā koe, welcome back. Construction is finally underway for an Invercargill dementia facility. The Hawthorndale Care Village celebrated the milestone after the project struggled to get going.
Showing off their digger skills at the on-site sod turning celebration, Hawthorndale Care Village construction is underway, with Charity Trust members celebrating on the diggers, and some Cavalry Hospital residents watching the action. The Specialist Dementia Care Village will have 13 houses, with 7 residents in each, and will be following a more social model of care.
This is people actually living a normal life, so they'll have shared living of their facilities like kitchen, laundry, dining room, but they will have their own separate bedroom and en-suites, but they'll live with people of the same ilk, and they'll mix around in a village situation.
The project got off to a rocky start, experiencing major delays over the past 5 years. O'Brien says COVID-19 and price escalation set the project back, which had members worried for the future of the village.
We even ourselves had doubts at different times about whether we'd get there or not. To be fair, we always knew we would have this day, so this is really monumental. And
the $35 million project is expected to open its doors by early 2025 in Invercargill, the South Today.
Hokanui has become just the 3rd group in the country to sign on to a healthy charter. A new locality group was formed this week in the Gore district to give the community a say in their health and wellbeing services.
Signing on the dotted line, officially joining the new locality group. 9 organisations banding together yesterday to create the new Hokanui Localities Group, Raupu, who are seeking community input.
The engagement with whānau and community will create key themes that will then be covered in a locality plan.
Raupu will talk to the community and give them a say in what goes on with the local health and wellbeing services.
For us to really work together as a community on issues that affect people's happiness, well-being and good health outcomes, really.
The group believes it's important for local voices to be heard so they can improve health outcomes for everyone.
This is really important to us to ensure that a true, strong community voice is captured.
There are 12 localities set throughout New Zealand, with Health Minister Andrew Little saying every area will eventually have its own. In Gore, the South Today.
The Central Otago District Council has a couple of fresh faces for the next 3 years, but it'll largely be business as usual. 2 new councillors were sworn in alongside the re-elected members, with Mayor Tim Cadogan set to continue his uncontested legacy.
Central Otago Mayor Tim Cadogan sworn in for a 3rd successive term. His new district council colleagues watched on as Mayor Cadogan officially received his chains in the Alexandra Council chambers this week. He secured his position in the recent local body elections, after running unopposed in the race for the mayoralty. And there's a lot of continuity around the council table, although there are 2 new faces.
I, Sally Fineman, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interests of Central Otago.
Teviot Valley Sally Fineman and Cromwell Sarah Brown were sworn in alongside their experienced colleagues, while Councillor Neil Gillespie was reappointed as Deputy Mayor. The Central Otago District Council is set to meet again next month. In Alexandra, the South Today.
A new community orchard in Invercargill was vandalised over the long weekend, just 1 month after the trees were originally planted. Members of the South Alive's Fruit and Nut group went to check on their trees at Macquarie Park and discovered 6 of their 9 newly planted trees had been stolen. Around 20 local volunteers got the orchard started just last month by helping plant the trees. Rochelle Francis says it's a frustrating situation, with the ultimate goal to have the orchard spread across the whole park, helping feed the community.
We think whoever's taken these trees probably doesn't realise that they are stealing from themselves because these trees are here for the community.
She's hoping the thieves will find their conscience and return the trees back before the weekend, with another planting working bee scheduled for Saturday. A contemporary art show hit the Dunedin Art Gallery last week, combining music, art and technology. Rhythm of the Brain played a classical music show where their brainwaves were transferred to the canvas.
Taking a bow after creating artwork with music and their minds. The NZ trio and artist Simon Ingram teaming up to create this contemporary piece, mixing music and painting. The headset records the performer's brainwaves and sends them to a robotic arm at the canvas, which uses the data to paint.
You know, it's sort of like music meets art, meets brain, meets science. Yeah, it's been a wonderful experiment.
The trio playing 2 pieces by Kiwi composer Alex Taylor, fully testing out the machine.
Gosh, it was an exhausting concert actually. The first piece is really kind of energetic, and the second piece was really kind of slow morphing kind of evolution of a piece.
Violinist Amelia Hall had her brainwaves recorded from the first piece, and cello player Ashley Brown had his recorded on the second song, both coming back with completely different results.
Amalia and Ashley's readings parameters were the same, so the difference you see is their brain difference whilst they're playing different pieces of music.
The trio said they were excited to have fresh eyes come see their music, and Ingram says there's a possibility he'll work with them again in the future. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Ashburton shoppers have been flocking to the town's new Kmart store since the retail chain opened in the River Crossing development.
Local school kids performing a welcome waiata for the recent opening of Ashburton's new Kmart. Shoppers lined up early for the store's grand opening, keen to see inside the large 3,500 square metre retail space. Kmart General Manager Ben Smith says excitement has been building in the South Canterbury town.
It's been a long time coming, about 5 years in the making, and it's very exciting here today. We've got a store full of customers.
Ashburton's Mayor Neil Brown also welcomed the retail giant to town and is hoping the store will help draw in shoppers from around the region.
Yeah, it'd be great for Ashburton. A lot of jobs, 100 jobs created in here today, and yeah, just a good positive vibe.
Meanwhile, Dunedin shoppers will still have a while to wait for their Kmart fix. A new Andersons Bay Road site for the chain was confirmed last week, but an opening date is yet to be set. Across the South Today.
After the break on Southern Newsweek, Dunedin's chocolate factory Ocho is tasting sweet success at the New Zealand Chocolate Awards, and ex-Highlanders and All Blacks turned up for an annual invitational game in Glenorchy. Tēnā koe, welcome back. Dunedin-based chocolate company Ocho has won a gold medal for one of its blocks at the New Zealand Chocolate Awards. The win for the milk chocolate variety comes at a great time for the company, and they're not shy about revealing their secret recipe.
Savouring the sweet taste of success, crowd-funded chocolate company Ocho has been steadily building its brand and products since Cadbury closed its Dunedin factory. Now the small company has won 2 medals at the New Zealand Chocolate Awards.
We've just been awarded a gold medal for our milk chocolate, our 3-ingredient milk chocolate, and we've also been awarded a bronze medal for our short black.
The gold medal winning chocolate recipe only has 3 ingredients: cacao, sugar and milk powder. But the company's manager says a lot of hard work also goes into sourcing sustainable cacao beans from Papua New Guinea.
It's vindication that ethical, sustainable practices can also create delicious, award-winning chocolate.
She says the award-winning milk chocolate recipe is also used in Ocho's chocolate hearts, bunnies and gift packs. But for the upcoming Christmas season, the Craft Chocolate Company has something special planned.
The Taste of Christmas is a blend of Christmas spices, and I challenge everyone to buy it and see if they agree that it tastes like Christmas.
They're now ramping up production in preparation for Christmas, with Dunedin's summer tourist season also expected to provide a boost and keep the small factory busy. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Labour Day has been commemorated in October across New Zealand for more than 130 years. Hundreds of people flocked to a suburban Christchurch park to remember why the day is important for the country.
Remembering workers' struggles with a concert. Around 300 Christchurch locals turned up to Richmond Park on Labour Day to honour those who fought for the 8-hour working day. Organiser Adam McGrath of Christchurch band The Eastern has a long association with the union movement in Ototahi, telling the crowd why it's important to acknowledge the important day.
It used to be a very important day for the community, and it sort of lost its power a little bit, so we wanted to give it a bit of juice. So we're very thrilled with how everyone's come and just wanted to be together and playing some music, so spirits are high.
Local resident John Minto has been on the left side of the political spectrum for many years, coming to national prominence in 1981 with its strong opposition to the Springbok rugby tour. He says the country has lost its way in terms of workers' rights.
What Labour Day is about, it's about people working together to solve the problems we face in everyday life. So it's been a dreadful part of my life to see poverty become normalised, which it did under the Helen Clark government, and to see homelessness normalised. We've got to create a new normal.
McGrath echoes Minto's feelings about the current employment situation and issues facing many workers around the country. He says Labour Day used to be a huge occasion, and he's hopeful events like this one can rekindle workers' solidarity. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Ex-Highlanders joined in on a friendly invitational match over the weekend, competing alongside Glenorchy locals. The Glenorchy Invitational and Whakatupu Arrowtown battling against each other, hoping to walk away with bragging rights.
Glenorchy delivering a crunching tackle down the sideline. Both Glenorchy Invitational and Whakatupu Arrowtown players getting into the swing of the biannual competition. The competition's been running for 3 years now and attracts some notable rugby players. It came about when the Glenorchy 15 manager Brian Greer heard the Lakeside Rugby Club's Pete Reid say they hadn't lost a game in 10 years since they hadn't played a game. So Greer felt he had to get a team together.
We said to the GY boys, you get 3 or 4 players, we'll backfill it with Harbour and Pioneer from Gore, and we'll challenge Waka for the head of the lake. So today GY's head of the lake.
The Waka team is made from mostly the Central Otago Premier Rugby Championship side, with Glenorchy picking up ex-All Black and Highlander Waisaki Naholo and Hale Te Pole, along with Otago loose forward Rupeni Te Mani.
So it's just awesome for the community and also for young fellas who've never been here, you know.
The game was played under perfect conditions, with some big hits and a few laughs. Glenorchy's star-studded team helping them take home the win, 30 points to 10. In Queenstown, the South Today.
The Highlanders have announced their squad for the 2023 season, with some fresh faces and a new captain being revealed.
The rugby franchise had a rough season last year, but head coach Clark Dermody believes he has the right blend of youth and experience in his squad since making some new signings. Joining the squad are former Chiefs winger Jonah Lowe, Bay of Plenty loose forward Nikora Broughton, along with Otago lock Will Tucker and first 5 Cameron Miller. Loose forward Billy Harmon will take over the captaincy for the coming season after a strong season captaining Canterbury's NPC side.
Amazing thing to be asked upon, and I was pretty lucky with Canterbury to actually sort of get a chance to experience that captaincy for a whole season. So, I've learnt a lot over that season, and I think it's really set me up.
Meanwhile, wing Chona Nariki will make his return to the Highlanders after a season-ending knee injury last year.
The Christmas dinner plans for the family of TV cook Jo Seeger were a hot topic of conversation in Gore recently. She's an ambassador for Hospice New Zealand and shared her Christmas Day menu with a few hundred guests at a fundraiser not long ago.
From lovable TV chef to Hospice NZ ambassador, former nurse Jo Seeger has come full circle. She returned to Gore recently to share her cooking knowledge with about 280 guests at a Hospice Southland fundraiser. The celebrity cook and writer says hospice is an organisation close to her heart.
And for me, it was with my father in the last little part of his life. He died at home, a patient at home, which is about 90% of hospice's patients.
Surrounded by many dishes which she'd prepared earlier, Seeger says, like many people, she's financially feeling the pinch as Christmas approaches. Guests got a taste of what she's planning to cook up for her family's Christmas table, while also showcasing some dishes which she believes can be useful for people on a budget.
We're going to have those as a little nibble, and I've made a very nice little Brazilian cheese bite as well. So we've got a couple of things to have with drinks before Christmas dinner.
The three-course menu for guest diners featured a prawn salad and slow-cooked lamb shoulder served with flatbreads. Organisers, the Gore Valley Lions Club, say about $18,000 was raised on the night for the town's hospice, which they describe as an amazing result. In Gore, the South Today.
That wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.